The rest of the story. Recalling the initial independence of America as a nation, we tend to focus on the Revolutionary War itself, the heroic struggle for freedom. It is perhaps the drama of open conflagration which italicizes those war years in our minds, which makes them stand out in historical retrospect. Forgotten are the mundane aspects of that magnificent transition, the practical and yet undramatic issues and details involved in evolving the United States of America. For example, as British territory, the American colonies used pounds and shillings and pence as currency. Well, that had to change. New Hampshire was the last state to accept dollars and cents. Would you believe that 1/3 of New Hampshire's voters wanted to retain British currency as their state's legal tender? The first U.S. mint was established in Philadelphia in 1792. The dollar itself was at that time 273 years old. The world's very first dollar was made in 1519 in the valley of Sanjoachim, Bohemia, and these coins were called Joachimsthaler. And eventually that was abbreviated to Thaler, T-H-A-L-E-R, Thaler. And over the years, thalers became dollars, began popping up in various countries. During the 18th century, Spanish dollars were widely circulated in the American colonies. And when small change was needed, the Spanish dollar, the coin itself, was actually physically cut into pieces. 8 pieces was maximum, henceforth the slang expression 2 bits, meaning 1/4 of $1. With the issuance of our first national paper money by the Second Continental Congress, 1775, the dollar suffered its first devaluation. Paul Revere engraved those first dollar bills, perhaps a few too many, for shortly the Continental dollar had dropped so low in value that people came to say of any worthless thing, it's not worth a Continental. In 1792, Congress provided for the first monetary system of the United States. It was to be based on gold and silver. The gold dollar containing 24.75 grains of pure gold. The silver dollar containing 371.25 grains of pure silver. But not all of the United States appreciated this idea. The citizens of New Hampshire, for example, took a supremely reactionary stance. British currency had served them well in the past, they reasoned. Why not in the future? Can you imagine that? After all of the American colonies had been through with Britain, after the long and bitter struggle for independence, New Hampshire wanted to retain British money. In fact, it was written into that state's constitution. Naturally, this sentiment eventually subsided. When a state constitutional convention was held in Concord, an amendment to that provision was proposed, and 5 months later, this question appeared on a statewide ballot, quote, "Do you approve of removing from the Constitution the provision that the value of money shall be computed in shillings and pence?" End quote. And with that, New Hampshire was destined to accept dollars and cents. Finally, when it was put to a vote, New Hampshire accepted dollars and cents, along with the rest of us. Did I mention that the state of New Hampshire officially made the switch from shillings and pence to dollars and cents November 7 of 1950? Just 41 years ago, and even then, 1/3 of the voters voted no, and now you know the rest of the story.